Hello, 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 and welcome. This is Her Talk Show. My name is Sabrina Victoria. I am here with Taylor today, and we are going to be talking all about perimenopause. I am so freaking excited about this conversation. I am the ripe age of 42 years old, and I am hearing all the things right now about perimenopause. So, ladies, get comfortable. We're going to explore the triumphs, the challenges faced by women worldwide. Taylor is here to offer some insights, some inspiration to fuel not only your personal growth, but also your professional growth. Let's jump in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
All right. If you are listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We're here every day delving deep into the world of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've interviewed close to 700 women, and today we are adding another one to the list. We have Taylor Wessel. She is a holistic nutritionist and the founder of Tailored Health, a virtual coaching practice that specializes in helping busy women rebalance their hormones through diet and lifestyle modifications to boost energy, reduce inflammation, lose weight, sleep better, and feel like themselves again. Her tailored approach helps them put the fun back into wellness, and she preaches small steps, big results. Welcome, lady.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Yes, I am so excited too. And as I was telling you before we even jumped on, this is all the talk right now in the realm of us 38 to 50-year-olds. And, lots of curiosity around it. I feel this is just coming to light over the last couple of years. I'm hearing it all over the place. And a lot of us are feeling the effects of it. We don't know what it is. We're not sure if that's what it is. So I'm really excited to sit down with you and almost like a one-on-one coaching here for me.
Yeah. Love
So
it.
before we kind of jump in, I'd love to hear kind of your background. How long have you been in the health and wellness industry?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. So I have been working professionally at different gyms and health clubs, studios, helped to open a successful wellness center in Hinsdale, Illinois. I am based in Chicago. So on a professional level, 15 years, but personally been experimenting with different diets and exercise and just being drawn towards nutrition and wellness since I'd say middle school, high school. That's when I kind of dabbled into diet culture. So I have a plethora of experience on both levels. My personal story that brought me to my niche of adrenal fatigue, burnout, and working with women that have imbalanced hormones, hypothyroidism, and helping them rebalance from the diet and lifestyle front to feel like themselves again, really started in 2010. I was on birth control pills for about 8 to 10 years, somewhere around there, and went through a breakup. And as you do on a breakup, it's like, I want to shift things completely. And I was hearing about a lot of girlfriends going off birth control pills and feeling like themselves again, their mood, their energy, everything shifted. And I thought, what the heck? I'm not with a committed partner. I'm not looking to get out there and start throwing myself around. I'm going to see what this is all about. Went off birth control pills and lost my menstrual cycles for 3 years. In that, I was already on I was studying nutrition. I was still in school. I was on a natural path. I started doing everything I could, and I knew to bring back my cycles. Diet, acupuncture, seed cycling, looking at my stress levels, kind of, but not really. I didn't bring that piece in until a little bit later. Nothing was helping. I was working with different integrative practitioners. Finally got the hypothyroid diagnosis. Against my will, went on thyroid medication and have a whole plethora of personal experience with different thyroid medications, from Armour to NP thyroid to Synthroid. I mean, everything, you name it. And it wasn't bringing back my cycles. So I was living in Colorado. I moved back to Chicago, saw a new doctor, and this adrenal fatigue piece came in. I got that diagnosis. It was like, how's your lifestyle? What's stress like for you? And I was working late nights at a restaurant and then doing kind of the health and wellness thing on the side while trying to make that my full-time career. I was a runner, so I was pushing myself through exercise. I am a type A perfectionist. So like on every level, I was pushing the stress pathways. And this doctor prescribed or suggested some supplements, stress management, pulling back my exercise, looking at food in a different way. I addressed the adrenals. My thyroid medication was still in play. And all of a sudden I got my cycles. It was pretty incredible. It was like light bulb moment. These two are connected, and then they speak to the whole hormonal cascade. And my cycles have been regular ever since. Although I'm pregnant now and expecting baby number 2 in July, new stage of adrenal fatigue, having one at 17 months and one on the way.
Wow.
And running my own company. So different stages of adrenal fatigue, but that was the seed that was planted 15 years ago and led me into my niche today at Tailored Health.
When you say adrenal fatigue, what is that?
Yes. Okay. So your adrenal glands are 2 teeny tiny little glands that sit in your lower back quadrant on top of each of your 2 kidneys. They're about the size of a walnut. So even though they're very small in shape and size, they have a big role in the body, and it's to manage all of the incoming stress, whether that's from your environment or internal stress, infections, inflammation, the foods that you're eating that trigger you, regulating your pH because you're eating a highly acidic diet. So the adrenals are processing and telling the body how to deal with incoming stress all day long, 24/7. But they don't just have that job. They help the kidneys regulate fluids throughout the body. So fluid distribution, they play a role in the immune system. The adrenals speak to the thyroid, which is your metabolism regulator. So they play a role with how you're storing your body fat, how you're holding on to weight. And then there's this energy piece that is highly correlated to the adrenals, and the fertility piece, which is, I know we want to zoom in on perimenopause, and there's such an important shift that happens during this phase with the adrenals, where they get called and pulled to extra action, which we can talk about at any point. But when the adrenals are overtaxed with stress, there's not enough rest, they can't do their other jobs. So we start to hold on to weight in the midsection. A lot of women that I see as clients, amen, yep. They're like, I traditionally had the pear shape, and now I'm holding on to this like inner tube. I can't get a hold of my sugar cravings or salty, crunchy cravings. Like I'm exhausted no matter how much sleep I get. Bags under the eyes and puffiness in the face. Like we're just holding on to fluids, and no matter how much exercise or calorie counting or all the things that we've learned are the right approaches that we do to manage our weight and try to get into a better place, it almost backfires and works against us, because we have to address this from a whole different aspect, the adrenal fatigue piece.
When you say the adrenals need to take extra action during perimenopause, what does that mean?
Yes. Thank you for asking. So when you are in your 20s, 30s, even teens, your ovaries are keeping estrogen, progesterone in balance. And when we make the shift to perimenopause, the ovaries are shutting down their production slowly. And what happens is your body's trying to kick into high gear to keep things going as routinely and regularly as possible. And so the ovaries start to slow their production of estrogen and progesterone, and the adrenals kick in to pick up the slack to try to keep us as regulated as possible. And this is a huge stress on the adrenals that are already taxed from, being women in a man's world, trying to make it, trying to run a company, trying to raise a family, trying to eat healthy and do all of the things. So if we've lived a stressful lifestyle and then we come into perimenopause, that's where the brain fog, the night sweats, the intense hunger and cravings, the weight gain, hot, cold, all of that starts to show. Like, we should have a smooth transition into perimenopause, maybe a little bit of symptoms, but the way that we're presenting with symptoms, we have to address this adrenal piece and support our hormones, support stress management in order to alleviate these symptoms.
This is interesting. It's kind of like a side note, like a sidestep.
Yeah.
A lymph node
Yeah.
versus adrenal.
Okay, so your lymph nodes are highly concentrated in like the throat. Whenever you're coming down with, everybody has their spot where they feel things. For me, it's actually my throat, and that makes sense with the anatomical position of the thyroid and me having a history of hypothyroidism. But sometimes when we're feeling under the weather, our lymph nodes get swollen. Like, we can just feel it if we press on there. Heavily concentrated here, heavily concentrated under the arms, which is why choosing a natural deodorant is so important, and not blocking those sweat glands and not putting aluminum and heavy metals under your arms. But those are the highest concentration. And then you have lymph nodes all over your body. And so the adrenals are focused on stress. They definitely play a role with the immune system and inflammation. Lymphatics and the lymphatic system is circulation, detoxification, and a stronger correlation with the immune system. That's its primary function.
When somebody's saying to drain those, where is it going?
Okay, you have the
they'll be like, drain your lymph nodes, and then the one with their armpit, and then I'm like, okay, so you push it, and then where does it go? Like to your breasts?
Okay, yes.
Your knees? Like, where is it going?
Does it pool somewhere else?
Yeah.
Right. So the circulatory system, which is your heart and your veins and your arteries, the blood that's correlated with the circulatory system has the heart pumping it autonomically. Like, we don't have to think about it. We don't do anything. Your blood circulates tip to toe, delivers nutrients to the cells, pulls out toxins, gets it out, and eliminates it through the body. The lymphatic system is different, where it doesn't have a pump. It sits stagnant and pools in different areas if we don't manually manipulate it through things like lymphatic drainage, which could be massage, through dry brushing. I actually, when I'm pregnant and breastfeeding, it's tougher to do this. One of my favorite wellness practices to keep up on is going for lymphatic enhancement therapy. It's a very specialized practice where somebody is doing light touch. You don't do like deep tissue massage to move the lymphatic system. It's like very little bits of pressure on those specific lymph nodes, moving the system so you can detoxify and eliminate through the channels like the skin, the bowels via the feces, the kidneys via your urine, your breath, the lungs via the breath. These are some of your pathways that you detoxify, and you want to get this stuff out of your body. But lymphatic enhancement therapy is using wands and light touch. The wands have sound and light, so it's like a deeper stimulation to move the lymphatic system. And I will tell you, not that I am for a quick fix, but if you have an event to go to, or you're trying to hop in a bikini and you're feeling puffy and bloated, you go for lymphatic enhancement therapy, and you should just keep up on this on a monthly or every 6-week basis anyways. But you start to notice your abs pop, the fluids that you might be retaining in your arms or even your face. Like I mentioned, I would hold on to fluids like puffiness under my eyes and my face when I've been going through hormonal stuff. Like, that just sheds, the collarbones pop. You feel really good. So yes.
That's so interesting. I had never heard of that until yesterday on TikTok.
Huh.
Yeah. So I was just kind of curious on, I've never really heard a whole lot about adrenals either until you and I talked a couple of weeks ago or so. So just kind of wondering on what the correlation between those two are. So when you're talking about hormonal balance, which I feel like I've heard you say, how does somebody know when we're having a hormonal balance or if we're just eating like shit? Like, I feel like as humans, we tend to like blame just like other stuff and never look at like what our actions are doing. Like, I had 17 little, Tootsie Rolls today, or I had 4 cups of coffee, or I had, 2 cups of Coca-Cola. And then they're like, oh yeah, my hormones are just unbalanced. Like, is it correlated? Are they the same? Or are they different? How does somebody know when it's their actual hormones?
Yeah. So cause effect, right? Cause is what choices are you making, diet and lifestyle. So how are you eating? What is the fuel that you're putting in your system? Are you drinking water? Or are you a soda or juice drinker or sugary coffee beverage drinker? So those are some of the inputs that come in dietarily. How are you sleeping? How are you managing your stress? What are your relationships like? Are they fulfilling? Are you surrounded by people that love and care about you? Or are you feeling like there's a lot of energy drainers and you don't have love in your life, whether it's self-love or from a significant other? There's lots of different inputs that affect all of the different systems in our body. And so the cause of hormone imbalance can be many things, diet and lifestyle certainly, and the stress piece is really huge. And I hear a lot of, it's not like the sexy topics. Stress and sleep aren't the sexy topics like, adrenal fatigue, like that seems buzzy, or gut health, or probiotics, or weight loss, or metabolism. These are topics that like really draw us in. But if we're not addressing our stress, which comes from diet and comes from lack of sleep, we are not going to have balanced hormones. And so the cause and then the effect of having imbalanced hormones can be many things. It can be low energy first thing in the morning. It can be an addiction to coffee and sugar to get through your days. And then that 3 p.m. crash where we're looking for something else to pick us up. It can be disturbed sleep. It can be the hot flashes. It can show up if you're still cycling as PMS, right? I see a lot of clients that are having intense the week prior to their periods. They're down and out, like they have to take a sick day. They have to sit with a heating pad. The cramps are so bad. The low back pain is so bad. I have one client right now who we just made a simple supplement swap of putting her on magnesium to help with stress and sleep and anxiety. And her low back pain is almost gone. She's not having the cramping around PMS. I'm not a supplement first kind of gal. I'm more food first and like the things we can do with just little tweaks. But that was a huge shift for her and how much she's getting back her life from just having that week back where she's not down and out. And then, of course, perimenopause symptoms just being so strong is showing you that your hormones need a little bit of attention. Infertility is another one that's huge right now. So many women are having struggles getting pregnant. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that. So as far as perimenopause, this constant feeling of drowsiness and just brain fog that everyone keeps talking about, what are some of the steps? Like, what are like a 1, 2, 3 simplistic that somebody can start to look into or research or even do to start to curb some of these effects that are happening to them?
Yeah. I'm all about the small steps leading to big results. So I love that we're going to hone in on 3 simple tips. There's a lot. And at Tailored Health, I very much personalize based on where a person's at, what their lifestyle is, what kind of commitment they can give as far as meal prepping, grocery shopping, what their budget is. So there's a lot of different factors that influence how I make recommendations and what symptoms are presenting. But in general, here are 3 things to get started with that can support your adrenal, support your thyroid, support your whole hormonal cascade that will start to alleviate those symptoms. Number 1 is to start off your day within 60 to 90 minutes of rising with a high protein breakfast. So I would aim for about 20 to 30 grams of protein, being mindful of the carb and sugar impact of that breakfast. So you want to focus more on protein and healthy fats rather than having, a bagel or waffle or pancake that might just cause you to spiral and be on a blood sugar roller coaster for the day. So when we have 20 to 30 grams of protein within the 60 to 90 minutes of rising, we are balancing our blood sugar first thing in the morning. We are supporting our adrenals, and that will bleed into more balanced energy and mood for the day. It will lead to less of that 3 p.m. crash, and then less of the late night snacking, eating, looking for that glass of wine because we've just been stressed out all day and we're looking for this transition. This one tip alone has led to so many transformations with my clients. It's like the number one thing that people thank me for just encouraging them to do. And I hear a little bit of pushback on this one because, potentially we're holding on to weight or we have an inability to lose weight. We're trying to step into this intermittent fasting world. We're drinking coffee. We don't have time in the morning. There's a million excuses. And if I start eating breakfast first thing in the morning, then all I'm thinking about is food for the day. So just know that there's a transition period where you start doing this, you start shifting around how you're eating, and you might not feel amazing the very first day, but eventually your body acclimates and you get used to this, and then your hunger and cravings taper later in the day. So that's number 1. Number 2 is wait to have your coffee until 9 or 10 a.m. This is a tough one, but coffee is a huge stimulant, which we look for. We wake up exhausted. If you have adrenal fatigue, you have perimenopause, you're in a fog, and that's what we kind of crawl ourselves to the coffee pot to get our mojo going for the day. And the problem is we have the coffee first. We don't hydrate before the coffee. And then we have this dehydrating coffee that's super stimulating. We get our mojo going for the day, but we artificially boost our cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone that's linked to, when we have imbalanced cortisol levels, it's linked to holding on to weight in the midsection and all of the symptoms of adrenal fatigue. So we get this coffee, we artificially stimulate cortisol. Our body gets slow and sluggish with producing its natural cortisol. And it's I don't need to do the hormone regulation thing because I'm getting this from an artificial outside source. So that throws off the cortisol curve, which could throw off melatonin and sleep curve, which plays into your estrogen, progesterone, and all of the other hormones. So simply waiting till 9 or 10 a.m. allows your natural cortisol to boost first thing in the morning, allows your blood sugar to be balanced with the high protein breakfast. And then you move into something stimulating like coffee, or consider matcha or something that's less stimulating and caffeinated, depending on where you are with adrenal fatigue. And then the third thing is to go to bed when you're actually tired. Almost, I would say about 90% of the women that I see present with adrenal fatigue symptoms. I think it's just the world that we live in is overstimulating. There's social media that we're constantly scrolling on. We're constantly getting texts and dings and multitasking and doing all of the other things that we're trying to just stay afloat. And, we get tired early, but it's too early to go to sleep. I'm not going to go to sleep at 8 or 9 p.m. So I'm going to wait it out till 10, and then I'll go hop into bed, maybe 10, or maybe it's 11 or 12 or even later. but we fight the first sign of sleepiness. And then we get that second wind and we can't fall asleep. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. This is honestly 90% of my clients, men and women. I see mostly women, although I do see men as well. And if we just tried it out, like what would happen if that one night you just went to sleep at 8 or 9 p.m. and like, would your sleep be deeper? Would you still wake up between 1 and 3 a.m. to use the restroom or whatever the pattern is? That's a typical adrenal fatigue sign too. So we want to maximize the power hours of sleep, which happen before midnight. So the earlier that you get to bed, the more restorative, the more hormone balancing that it is. And it's like double bang for your buck, getting to bed by 10 p.m., which might mean you hop into bed at 9:30 to start reading and winding down, sniff some lavender, have some tart cherry juice, whatever your sleep routine is, not scrolling on your phone and stimulating your eyes with that blue light and pulling the melatonin levels down, but really letting yourself unwind so you can get to sleep earlier, so you can maximize on hormone rejuvenation and sleep, so you wake up more energized, you can have that power protein breakfast, and then so on and so forth. So those are the 3 tips.
I love that. Yeah, so much of this. So the fasting for me has come to a halt. I was told to halt that. I normally live on like a 16-hour on average fast between like yesterday and the next day. So I have been, and for the same exact reason that you said, so I'm so glad that you brought that up, is thinking about food. So waking up, I drink water. That's all I do. I just drink water.
Great.
All the way until maybe like 1. Sometimes later, sometimes 3, like depends on my day. So sometimes it's even a longer fast, obviously. Because of the whole food thing, like it's so much time I work from home, right? So I make my food. So I have to figure out what I want to eat. Then I have to make it. Then I have to like prep it, make it, clean it, like dude. So if I'm not eating that whole first meal, I mean, it's just so wonderful. So what I have started doing, which is something easy that doesn't include cooking, is just yogurt, like a high protein yogurt with half an apple cut up, pineapple, and like some high protein granola nut mix. I don't even know. And that seems to be doing good. It's not messy. It's not, evasive. It doesn't take a whole lot of like brain power to do that. So that's been working for me, for the listeners that are debating on whether or not they're going to listen to Taylor or not. I don't drink coffee, so I don't have anything to say about that, but I hear everything that you're saying, and I know most people are coffee drinkers. Going to bed. I think that I don't think, like you said it, and I liken it, a lot of it, to social media. Like I'll get into bed probably around midnight, and then I'll be like, I'm going to go right to bed. And then I'll be like, let me just see like one TikTok. Just like 1 or 2, just like something fun, like before I go to bed. And then like the first few are just like fucked up. They're just like fucked up videos. And I'm like, I'm not going to go to bed after watching that. Like I have to find something good. And then I'm like, I'll scroll a little longer, and they're like, oh, that was good, but it wasn't like that good. There's like way better content. Yeah. So before I know it, a freaking hour goes by.
Wow.
And then I'm mad because I could have been working for that extra hour. Clearly I was awake. So then there's this whole like thing in my head of like, oh, I should have been working, but then I wasn't working. I was scrolling like aimlessly. So then all the guilt of that. So then scroll for another 30 minutes because now I'm just like mad. But that second win, this is so interesting to me because I always liken that to, like I always say I have 2 wins. I'm a total morning person. So I don't drink any caffeine whatsoever throughout my day. When I wake up, I am freaking awake. And I'm ready to roll. And then right around 1 to 3, I'm so tired. I can't even function as a human. And then usually that's what I'm like eating right around there. And then, whatever, chores, all the things they have to do with the family or whatever. And then I get my second wind right around 7. And I'll go like 7 to midnight, 7 to 1, something like that. And I've always had the identity of I can sleep. I can like function on 4 hours of sleep, like my whole life, until literally like a year or two ago. I literally cannot function. So then I went to 6, and now I'm like, dude, I need like a full 8 to 9 hours. This is insane. So is this part of it? Like, I mean, obviously I know I'm supposed to be getting 8 hours of sleep my whole freaking life, but like, is this also part of it where we just need more sleep? Or if we're going to bed at 8, will we do 8 hours and then wake up at freaking 4 in the morning? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, different phases of life and different health circumstances, different, lifestyle changes call for different actions. And so now your body is telling you, I need more sleep to actually wake up with the energy. I'm craving more sleep. And it's probably because the sleep is helping to rebalance your hormones. Have you ever tracked your sleep with like the Whoop or?
Not recently. I used to long time ago, early 30s. I had a Fitbit for like 5 years, but no.
It'd be interesting just to see how deep the sleep is, because potentially you're not getting into those deeper, slow wave sleeps. And so your body's craving more to try to accumulate more hours and length versus having those power, 4 to 5, even though most people need a minimum of 6 to be functional. There's sleep studies out there of like accidents on the road and medical accidents that are linked to 6 hours or less, and being overweight linked to having less sleep because our hormones don't get rebalanced, and things like ghrelin and leptin, which regulate how hungry we are when we're satiated and how we store our body fat, are linked, that those are hormones that get recirculated at night too. So your body is going through a huge shift when it enters perimenopause. Like, this is a huge stressor on the body, and you need more sleep to repair the body from, and you're going through a launch and you're doing all sorts of things in business right now. Your body probably is just calling for it.
So yes. Mm-hmm. So if our bodies are getting sleepy between 8 and 9, and we actually go to bed at 8 and 9, between 8 and 9, when should our last meal be? Because usually mine is like 7. Yeah. And then that feels good because I'm still up. Like, that's like holding me, because I'm usually staying up so late working. But if I'm going to bed at 8, I probably shouldn't be eating last thing at 7.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one that I approach different, again, like based on who the individual is, what they have going on. But if you are looking to, your hormones are for the most part balanced and you can do this, I recommend, and even like to bring in the intermittent fasting piece, is I recommend earlier dinners and to not skimp on breakfast to get in your fasting window. But if you can close the kitchen by 7, get to bed by 10, you give your body 3 hours to digest your meal before laying down. I see a lot of people with acid reflux and heartburn, and we want gravity to work for digestion as best as possible before we lay down, let alone being in digestion mode rather than sleep mode. It kind of revs up the gears. So 7 p.m. or at 3 hours before bedtime, if your hormones are balanced, if you resonate with some of the adrenal fatigue symptoms like low energy in the morning, 3 p.m. crash, second wind before bed, 1 to 3 a.m. wake up, like holding on to weight in the face and the midsection, you might be better served having an earlier dinner and then a little snack, like 200 calories or less of a snack 30 minutes before bed, that has the combo of complex carbohydrate and healthy fat. So like a half sweet potato with a pat of Kerrygold grass-fed butter, or a small apple with almond butter, a scoop of almond butter, something along these lines, because the complex carbohydrate boosts serotonin levels to help calm your nervous system, and the healthy fat helps to regulate your blood sugar to take you through a full night of sleep. So helps you wind down and then sustain sleep. When you're adrenally fatigued, you blow through those calories and that fuel faster. So you need a little support before bed.
Yeah. I'm actually going to try this. I'm going to, what would you suggest? Like, is a good test, like a whole month, or could I do it just for a couple weeks? The sleep thing, the sleep.
Yeah. So the steps that I shared today are pretty fast acting. So I would say give it a full week and you should notice these symptoms start to improve. Within just a couple of nights, you get better quality sleep. You're already waking up with energy, but I feel that you're an anomaly. Most people are struggling to get out of bed. But for you, maybe it's that 1 to 3 p.m. crash that's like something to gauge. Figure out what your strongest symptom is and pay attention most to that and see how that's improving with these small changes. And regarding the intermittent fasting, potentially play around with the window a little bit and do the longer fast if you still want to dabble in it. I know that you're pulling yourself out of it, but do it 2 times per week, the 16-hour fast, and then let yourself have that high protein breakfast and observe what is the difference in my energy, mood, productivity throughout the day and my food thoughts throughout the day. How are my clothes fitting? I love that measure more so than stepping on the scale. And we're so ruled by numbers, but who cares what your weight is or the size of your jeans? Like if you feel good in your clothes and you're showing up confidently, nobody, aside from the doctor, which is so triggering anyways, nobody asks you what your weight is and nobody cares what size pants you are. So use your symptoms to observe whether what you're doing is working for you or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do really think a lot of it for me specifically is the sleep. I'm really not, I don't want to say I'm not allowing, but I'm just not getting a full 8 hours ever unless it's the weekend. So really just Saturday. Yeah. I let myself sleep in. I don't sleep with an alarm. I allow my body to wake up whenever it wants to, and it wakes up between 4 to 6 hours. It just does. But Saturday, I don't know. I just train, like I just go to bed knowing I'm just going to sleep, and I'll sleep in until like maybe 9, 10, which is nice. And that's where I always make up. My body gets real mad at me too if I don't do that on Saturday. Like I feel it for the whole next week. I'll get like headaches. But I think a lot of it is my sleep. So I'm going to work on that. Like 8 hours. I think that's one of my main issues. And that would help with the fog, possibly, right? The just drowsiness throughout the day. And then if I'm not doing the fasting, I feel like the combination of that will work. This has been great. I so appreciate it. We have a ton of people watching live, by the way. Thanks so much for being here, for hanging out with us. We appreciate that. Taylor, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about who should be reaching out to you. Who do you predominantly help? What do your clients come to you for? Why should women or people be reaching out to you?
Yes. At Tailored Health, I work predominantly with women in their 30s and 40s who are struggling with burnout, adrenal fatigue, and or hypothyroidism. So I help them rebalance their hormones on the diet and lifestyle front, doing a lot of these simple, actionable steps and kind of building from there based on what they can do, what is feasible, and really trying to teach people that we don't have to go and swing all the way into diet culture and do extreme things to get more energy, to lose weight, to sleep better. It's just some really small things, but that are targeted to what you have going on, what is realistic for you to do, what can you easily incorporate in, and you start feeling better really fast. Like that's the money spot for me. If I can get you to feel a lot better between session 1 and session 2, we're winning. You're bought in. I'm excited. Like we're ready to go for the rest of our work together. So if you're resonating with any of these symptoms of adrenal fatigue or patterns and you're like, yes, oh my gosh, I do offer a free discovery call, which would be a great way to just talk about what you have going on and what I would recommend as far as working together to get you to where you want to be. And I also have a 28-day hormone rebalance jumpstart, which is a 28-day guide on if you follow these 3 simple steps, which are a little bit different than what we talked about today, but some overlap. You will start to notice your energy shift, your hormones, your mood, the perimenopause symptoms should be coming down. Weight, if weight loss is something that you're going towards, or even gaining weight, like it is a sign of imbalance when you're not at your normal weight. So we just have to figure out what that means. But you will see all of this shift by just following these 3 simple steps for 28 days. So I will send you the link for that so you can share it with your audience. And that is a guide that you can follow, and let me know how that goes for you.
I love that. Thank you so much. This has been great. For those that want to learn more about you, hang out with you, where do you hang out predominantly on social media?
Yes, I am most active on Instagram. Taylor, TAYLORED_health_. I share videos, I share simple actionable tips, I share upcoming classes. Instagram would be where I'm at most often.
Awesome. And for those listening on audio only, what is your website?
Yes, tailoredhealth4u.com. And that's with the numeral 4. TAYLORED health, HEALTH, number 4, YOU.com.
I love it.
Challenging. These
yes.
Recall moments. Yeah.
It's funny when we open websites, it's like so clever. And then when we're like, oh, that was interesting.
Why?
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, this has been great. I so appreciate you, Taylor, coming on and hanging out with us, sharing so much awesomeness, so much value. To those of you listening live still here, thank you so much. Be sure to follow, like, and share. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you drop into the comments. Let us know that you're here so we can come by and show you some love. But this brings us to an end of yet another incredible episode of Her Talk Show. Any closing thoughts, Taylor, as we wrap up here?
I think what I'll leave you with is there was a lot that we covered today. We packed it in, and this could lead to a sense of overwhelm, which is the last thing that we want, is to leave this episode thinking, oh my God, I have so many things to do. Take 1 or 2 action steps and just start implementing them, whether today or tomorrow. Just try it out, whether you're focused on sleep and getting to bed by 10 p.m., whether you want to try out that healthy, high protein breakfast, or maybe you push back your coffee consumption. Those are the 3 things to really zoom in on. If you're able to do all 3, great. But most often it's like 1 or 2 things. See how you feel. Get into the tailored health world and learn more, and then keep building from there.
Beautiful. Well, this has been wonderful. For those of you looking to follow Taylor, she predominantly hangs out on Instagram. I did just check out her website. All of her social media links are at the bottom of her website, tailoredhealth4u.com. Wherever you're listening to us at, her clickable link of her website is in the description below, along with our Facebook group. So I run a community called Her Nation Global, where we bring women just like Taylor together and share resources. We leverage each other's knowledge, leverage each other's education, and really help each other rise together as a community. Would love for you to join us. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much. Until next time, do something awesome today.